to continue, why would the company decide to use a virtual organizational structure? The essence of the virtual organizational structures is small, core organizations that outsource major business function. In structural terms, the virtual organization is highly centralized with little or no departmentalization. This is a quest for maximum flexibility. This virtual organization have created network of relationship that allows them to contract out manufacturing, distribution, and marketing, or any other business functions that management feels can be done better or cheaper by others. The major advantage to the virtual organization is that it is flexible. The primary drawback for these structures is that it's reduced management control over the key parts of it, their business. Example, in our company, we are a manufacturing of battery manufacturing company. Okay, Isidelco is the brand name. And we are not manufacturing cases of the battery. There is a case of the battery. We are giving it to our sister company, and we own it's outside our plant. It is other side, other city, other place, and we own our machine. And they are that company is a manufacturer of plastic parts. It is our sister company. What we have done, we give them a machine, a mold. It is our own mold, and then they produce everything which per our design, per our product, per our colors. It's a plastic parts. They are the one who is doing in behalf of us to supply a plastic cases. So it is called a virtual organization. Another thing is also a rental. In our side, we are not buying machines. Cars. We are not buying cars. All our cars in the company is leasing. We are leasing because why? It is less headache for us. We just only put the gasoline and that's it, and use it for maintenance. The contractor will do it. We are just only renting, leasing, and used. Other one also, the example for that is warehousing. We have our big items, let's say, for our for sale item. So we need to have a warehouse, big warehouse. What we have done to make a warehouse is very, very expensive. What we have done is to just lease the warehouse for 3 years, 10 years, 15 years, and it is our finished goods, raw materials are stuck in there. So this is called part of the virtual organization. Why would manager wants to create boundaryless organization? Why? Boundaryless. No any boundary. It's unlimited. Why managers want it? The boundaryless organizations seek to eliminate the chain of command, have limitless span of control, and replace department with empowered teams. Responsibility. Do it. It is your responsibility. By removing vertical boundaries, management flatten the hierarchy. Status and rank are minimized, and the organizational looks more like a silo than a pyramid. Pyramid like this. Silo is like a can of milk, which is all the in that area there is no. It's a flat. It's the same. That pyramid, there is a managers like this, a subordinates, and there is something below. It's called pyramid. The topper one, where is the boss? Silo, flat in the bottom, flat at the top as well. It is same like a can of milk. So you can recognize about silo and pyramid. The boundaryless organizations also break down barriers to external constituencies and barriers created by geography. The one common technological trait that makes the boundaryless organizations possible in a network computer. They allow people to communicate across intra-organization and internal organization boundaries. And we discussed so many things now about structures of organizations. We'll see about what are those differences, why they are differences, why they are different. There are several key elements that shape organizational structure. One is the strategy. An organizational structures is meant to help management achieve their objectives. Strategy and structure should be closely linked together. Structure should follow strategy. Frameworks focus on three strategy dimensions, which is innovation, cost minimization, and imitation. And the structure design that works best with each. Size, technology, environmental, uncertainty, and we will discuss it. Organizational size significantly affect its structure, of course. Large organizations, those typically employing 2,000 above, tend to have more specialization, more departmentalization, more vertical levels, and more rules and regulation than those small organizations. Size affects structures of decreasing rate. And we'll see about technology. The term technology refers to how an organization transfers its input into output. Every organization has at least one technology for converting financial, human, and physical resources into product or services. Other as well is environmental uncertainty. An organizational potential affect the organization performance. The environment is considered a key determinant of structures. I have to say something about environmental uncertainty. Example only. One of our company in China, sister company, a battery manufacturing as well, GCI, Johnson's Controls, have been closed, I think last 1 month, 2 months ago, because of their environmental non-compliance to their government. Why? Because in that plant there is a permit to be granted by the government, and to produce battery in China has a permit. Example quantity. I have to make a quantity of battery. Well, of course, this is a lead hazardous material. Currently, the battery life or business is currently from lead and acid, coming from lead and acid. Now, lead is an hazardous materials, and it's affect environment. That's why if Chinese government permit you to a specific quantity only per year, 3,000 for example, do not exceed about it. But if you exceed about and the government knows, now it be closed. The thing is that the approved quantity only by our sister company is 3,000, and now they exceed about it, and it is not reported to the government. And some other neighbors say that you are already more than output according to the more than the permit which you have done. So, well, they have closed it. That is the idea. So, environmental uncertainty is the key determinant of structures. It's really very, very important. Now, there are two models of the organizational structures. One is the mechanistic and organic. Mechanistic is generally the same with bureaucracy in that it has extensive departmentalization, high formalization, a limited information network, mostly downward communication from up, and little participation of low-level member in decision making. While organic, it's look like a boundaryless organization. It's a flat, uses cross-hierarchical and cross-functional team, and has low formalization, possess a comprehensive information network, involves high participation in decision making. This is the differences of the structure. We are using in this company, in our company, is mechanistic. From top, there's a managers, and the managers has a bottom as well. On what behavioral implication of different organization structures should managers be aware? It is really very, very important to the managers. They must be aware on behavior implications on different organization structures we have. The conclusions of a review of the evidence linking organization structures to eliminate employee performance and satisfaction show that you cannot generalize. You cannot generalize. It is a behavior of a person. Not everyone prefers the freedom and flexibility of organic structure. Some people are mostly productive and satisfied with mechanistic structures. The evidence generally indicates that work specializations contribute to higher employee productivity, but at the price of reduced job satisfaction. Work specializations is not an ending source of higher productivity. Problems start to surface and productivity begin to suffer when the human diseconomies of doing repetitive and narrow tasks overtakes the economies of specialization. Some individuals want work that makes minimal intellectual demands and provides the security of routine. For these people, high work specializations is a source of job satisfaction. There is no evidence to support a relationship between span of controls and employee performance. It is impossible to state that any particular span of controls is best for producing high performance or high satisfactions among subordinates due to individual differences. There is strong evidence linking centralization and job satisfaction. The less centralization, the greater amount of participative decision making. Evidence suggests that participative decision making is positive related to job satisfactions. Hoping that you love my report, even it is not really professional done because of short period of time. And I would like once again to thank you to my teacher, Professor Mevilyn Kabutay, for the support always that she is giving to me. And maybe next time we can see each other and a report will be shown properly, professional way. And of course, listeners can be understand what is really the topic is all about. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and have a nice weekend, let's say, or sim break, and welcome to the new semester again. Ma'am, thank you very much for your support once again. Have good days and productive days to come. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.